Nate Silvers and these Saliza people just bites into this glorious show. AOC. What? She's kind of fun in a silly but earnest, wrong but adorable way. She's like your daughter when she comes back from her first year at Brown, full of half-baked, half opinions, in need of some gentle, patient deprogramming. But people have to realize new faces doesn't mean new ideas.
When Greg Gutfeld sets his sights on AOC, it's not a debate, it's a roast with precision. With wit sharper than any soundbite, he cuts through the buzzwords, exposes the double standards, and leaves her trending take smoldering. AOC brings the theatrics, Gutfeld brings the takedown and the punchline. He turns truth into comedy, one brutal zinger at a time.
Where did she grow up again? Westchester?
Westchester.
She represents Queens. And she wears plaid, and then she has little ski things with like a 60-pound backpack, like she does that. I have never seen, and she showcases her whole life on social media. You can never see her in private. Everything is on social media.
Greg Gutfeld is a maestro of the ridiculous, a grandmaster of mockery with a black belt in political takedowns. So when AOC cross into his crosshairs, it's not a debate, it's a satirical masterpiece in motion. She doesn't just give him material, she packages it like a party favor and practically begs, make this your opening monologue.
AOC was on 60 Minutes last night, quite a feat for a newcomer. Must be all her great new ideas.
People are gonna have to start paying their fair share in taxes. Once you get to like the tippy tops, on your $10 millionth dollar, sometimes you see tax rates as high as 60 or 70%.
What an expression. Now, the real story isn't AOC's very old ideas. It's the media's gushy view of her. Even with her old ideas, she gets on 60 Minutes. The past is called the future, and you better love it.
Before Greg Gutfeld roasts, he lets it marinate hand with AOC. The recipe writes itself. A self-styled voice of the working class who live streams skincare tips more often than she drafts legislation. She's a TED Talk in a TikTok wrapper. Greg doesn't just offer commentary, he sets it on fire.
Victim status.
Why is it, Greg, that you can't challenge someone to a debate on the ideas without being accused of being a jerk? Like, I don't think Ben Shapiro's ever catcalled in his life.
Well, the thing is, what if a woman had challenged her to a debate? So she's actually being the sexist.
I think Candace Owens did.
Oh, really?
Now
There you go.
She has, like,
because
doubled the money.
So to answer your other question, she had to cloak her weak ideas in the armor of a smear.
He doesn't need to bend the truth. Her resume handles that on its own. AOC brandishes her economics degree like Thor's hammer, yet seems baffled by basic supply and demand. Gutfeld doesn't go on the offensive. He just points, smirks, and watches the contradictions do the heavy lifting.
AOC has never introduced a fresh idea or issue in her life. The reason why she gets along with Bernie is because she's like an 80-year-old leftist in a used bookstore. I mean, she may look fresh, but she's as stale as an abandoned futon on the street. It's like, I listen to her, I go, I heard that at Berkeley in 1983.
Her green new deal reads like a utopian daydream sketched in crayon during a yoga retreat funded by fantasy, fueled by feelings, and wrapped in recycled outrage. Greg pulls back the curtain and reveals the performance. A self-proclaimed voice for the poor, decked out in designer labels and flying first class. She's not crafting policies, she's curating a brand, complete with a ring light.
She doesn't do her job, right? She makes movies, she goes to galas, she sits for glossy butt-kissing interviews in GQ and other women's mags. Once you get over to the fact that you're hollow inside, it's not a bad life.
All right, Dana?
Well, I think that I read a little bit of the New York Times review.
Not to Gutfeld. AOC doesn't argue, she performs. Every debate plays like a season finale. Every critique is labeled oppression. And every lost vote turns into a Greek tragedy broadcast in Instagram Reels. But the knockout comes when Greg simply asks, where are the solutions? Her plans. Promise utopia but deliver slogan-powered chaos, with zero math and even less realism.
cross her wrists behind her back, again in the faux handcuffed position. It's as tall a tale as AOC nearly being killed on January 6th. This is a person who never met a situation she couldn't make about her. She really is the Amber Heard of DC politics. I'm surprised she didn't claim she was nearly killed on 9/11, or during the Tet Offensive, or the Battle of Bunker Hill.
The Green New Deal is Gutfeld's playground, complete with high-speed trains to nowhere, flatulent cows on notice, and paychecks for the proudly unemployed. He doesn't have to write jokes. He just reads it aloud and lets the laughter do the rest. It's not policy, it's performance art for activists who flunked econ.then.
She gets on 60 Minutes. The past is called the future, and you better love it. Take AOC's delightful dancing video from last week. The media created a fake story that conservatives attacked her over this delightful trifle. Not really. In fact, the only stories written about the dance were by liberals using it to falsely smear the right. So the press creates a shield around.
There's the ego carefully curated, heavily filtered, and baked at 400 in moral superiority. AOC tweets like a prophet and deletes like a magician. To Gutfeld, she's not clueless, just so certain she's right that facts turn into background noise. Every misstep gets rebranded as evolving thought, which is progressive code for don't fact-check me.
The media would obey. Let's watch the tape. You know, she'd be a great mime, like the Latina version of Marcel Marceau.
She casts every vote as an epic battle for humanity, with herself as the heroine, capitalism as the villain, and any dissent as blasphemy. Greg calls it what it is, a soap opera, with AOC playing Joan of Arc armed with a smartphone and a hashtag. She claims to fight the system while going viral on every platform it powers.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've done Alexandria every day for the last 6 months. No, I mean, no, but it's true. But so is, I mean, the thing is, she does represent something. She represents a, kind of like the naive romanticism that you can kind of play along and no one questions.
You mean the poems that you write when you're 15 years old?
But I think that this is a real possibility for her. You know, if she does read and she does actually get up to speed, she could be a challenge, but she hasn't.
Gutfeld doesn't need to strike. He simply holds up the mirror and lets the show unfold. AOC isn't changing the world. She's narrating it, bathed in dramatic lighting. With no follow-through, and just when you think Greg's roast has landed, he smirks, reloads, and uncovers another layer of irony, lurking beneath her latest filtered selfie.
Say she's living in our heads like Pharrell Williams singing Happy, but in fact, it's the policies that live in our heads, and they should live there, because we know so many people who've been brutalized by such ideas. When you hear someone talk about socialism like it's a fun new way to pay down my college debt, you gotta scream. Just prepare to be called awful things for doing so. Today, pointing out the evil of the past makes you the bane of the present.
Greg tears into her knack for turning every moment into a dramatic soliloquy. To him, this isn't politics, it's funded theater. Her tax the rich outfit wasn't activism. It was costume design for the world's priciest hypocrisy show. She preaches inequality while sipping champagne in a room full of billionaires. In KOC's world, borders are taboo, math is weaponized, and every dissent is labeled misogyny. She doesn't govern, she narrates. Greg nails it. She's a walking think piece machine, spinning every headline into a saga all about her. It's not politics, it's influencer cosplay in a power blazer.